Hi friends, we're here with another Foundations video where we are going to be talking about a style of playing keys that best serves songs played within a modern worship context. Some of you may be really familiar with playing an acoustic grand or upright piano at home, and it may seem really daunting and scary to transition to playing with a full band, click track, and no sheet music. But we'd like to talk about some basic differences between playing keys and playing solo piano that will help make that transition easier and help frame the style of keys that is present in a lot of modern worship music. The first principle that we'd like to talk about is the focused nature of worship keys. Keys players have the ability to play the most notes at the same time out of anyone in a band, but that's rarely a helpful approach in a worship context. Instead, keys players should do their best to play chords and inversions that keep the band rooted in the one chord. If the concept of a one chord doesn't ring a bell, check out our video on the Nashville numbers system and it will make a lot more sense. Essentially, no matter where we are in a song, the chords we play are going to highlight the original key in some form or fashion, as opposed to being unconstrained and isolated from the rest of the song. Here's an example of that concept in action on the chorus of "Oh Praise the Name" in the key of C. As you can see, there were a lot of firsts and fifths in each inversion that I was playing, which kept us moving towards the important notes for this song in the key of C. The second principle of worship keys is its orientation towards parts. A major difference between playing solo piano and leading on a worship team is that there are vocalists present in a band whose primary job, as silly as it sounds, is to sing songs. And a great way for keys players to complement vocals and everything else that is going on in the band is to orient their playing primarily around parts and not around melodies or constant arpeggios. Sometimes a part involves playing part of a melody, but most of the time they are unique parts or rhythm progressions that are designed to fit with an electric guitar player and vocalists. Here are a couple of examples from the song "In Christ Alone" that demonstrate this distinction. In the first example, I'll play the verse oriented around the melody, and in the second example, I will play the verse oriented around a part that supports the vocalist. Hopefully you can see from that example that a part-oriented approach complements and supports a lead vocal part and doesn't get in the way of what is being sung. The third and final major principle of worship keys is the pursuit of clarity. As we mentioned earlier in the video, keys players have the ability to play the most notes at the same time out of anyone in the band, and can also play their notes in whatever time subdivision they want. Instead of playing a lot of notes very frequently and creating a cluttered, muddy sound, a great approach to a clear worship keys sound involves purposeful notes played often enough to be clear and dynamic throughout a song. One of the easiest ways to create clarity in your playing is to carefully monitor how often you hit notes on the keyboard. In your left hand when playing bass notes, and in your right hand when playing other rhythmic and lead parts. Most of the time, whole notes to half notes in the left hand and whole notes to quarter notes in the right hand produce the clearest sound. And this could change depending on whether a part calls for faster playing, but do your best in the heat of the moment to not overplay. Another way to maintain clarity is to be mindful of the intervals included in your bass notes. Keys in modern worship music often require playing really low on the keyboard with your left hand, and some chord structures that have more than octaves could sound muddy that low. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to play the King of Kings intro with a 1, 3, and 5 in my left hand. Now you can tell that that's not very clear, and that's probably because we have too much going on in our left hand. Now I'm going to show you what that sounds like with a 1, 5, and an octave in my left hand, and we'll see if that gets any clearer. That's a little better, but I think that that 5 is contributing a lot of mud. And so let's try it out with just the octave in the left hand and see how that works. As you can see from that example, the chord shape with the least amount of notes contributed to the clearest sound. And we hope that this content is helpful as you pursue growth in the playing style of keys in modern worship music. And if you have any questions about this content, please feel free to reach out to us at worship@grace-bible.org. And we'll see you next time.